Shannie from Baker Creek, and today I want to talk to you about what you can still plant in September. A lot of you might not know that you can still sow crops in September, but indeed there are actually quite a few crops that grow really well when you sow them nice and late in the season. A lot of these are going to be things like Asian greens and different greens, but if you want a fall and winter diet that's replete with nutritious, dark leafy greens, you should really consider planting things in September. By now, your soil is cooled off, you've got a perfect location for planting. Clear out some of those old tired crops, make some space, and get ready to grow in September because it's one of the most pleasant times to be out in the garden. You really want to get the most out of those final months of fall. It's a beautiful time to be gardening, so I encourage you guys to get out there, month of September, and get gardening. So maybe you've struggled in the past growing broccoli. It can be a tricky crop sometimes. So this is just a little bit easier. We call it Chinese kale, Yhod, but it's actually most similar to a broccoli, culinarily speaking. It's got this really nice crisp stem that makes these really beautiful florets. It's a beautiful broccoli substitute. I actually like it more than traditional broccoli. I think it's sweeter, more nutty flavored, and has way better texture, more buttery. So this is one of the most gourmet crops I have ever had. I highly recommend it. And you know why it's even better? Because it's actually super easy to grow. It's going to tolerate that heat at the beginning of September, and then as the weather starts to really drop and it gets cooler, it's just going to grow phenomenally. It's a really easy to grow fall crop. It's great for growing in high tunnels. You can grow it in low tunnels. It's versatile. Grow it indoors, grow it outdoors. You can give it a bit of frost protection if you'd like to extend the harvest season a bit later. This is a super easy to grow broccoli substitute, and I just love it in stir fries. I love to eat it raw. There's lots of options. So if you're looking to add dense nutrition to your fall and winter diet, you have to try Tatsoi. This is one of my favorite greens of all time, mostly because it's nicknamed vitamin green. It's nicknamed vitamin green because it's super high in a whole host of different vitamins, but very specifically vitamin C. It's also high in calcium. So this crop is not just delicious, it's beautiful. It's low growing, which is an indicator as to why it grows so great in cool weather. It stays super low to the ground, and it forms these beautiful rosettes. These little spoon leaves, they're tiny, and they make this really nice ornamental rosette. And they grow low to the ground. Sometimes you'll see people harvesting Tatsoi when there's a blanket of snow on the ground. They're super cold hardy. They get even better tasting when the weather gets cool. So they're a great one to start in September and let mature through those cool autumn days. They're an excellent choice for high tunnels or low tunnels or cold frames. They're just the most perfect winter green, and they're going to just taste amazing when they get exposed to a little bit of frost. So the Japanese salad turnips are so much more refined and gourmet than any turnip you've had before. They're super, super sweet. They have this really nice nutty flavor, and you can eat them raw. I love just shaving them and putting them on salads. And they're a great crop for sowing in September. They're cool weather loving. You can grow them in a cold frame or your greenhouse, or you can grow them outdoors. If you're going to grow them outdoors, be sure you get them in at the very beginning of September. But this is a really nice bright red variety with really beautiful fine grained flesh. September is a great time to plant chives. This one's awesome if you want to do them in a cold frame or just a shadier part of your garden. They're going to perennialize for you, so pick that spot and they're going to come back year after year. You can eat those beautiful little blossoms. Those are a really nice little edible flower, or you can harvest them for their tops. And this one's going to grow pretty much throughout the winter. It's a super easy herb to grow. You can do these in pots indoors if you want, but it's pretty much going to come and go throughout the winter as you get little spikes in your winter weather. So a really reliable, cold loving crop. So Japanese giant red mustard is going to make massive leaves in your garden. These huge leaves have a really great pungent mustard flavor. I don't know if you guys have had a lot of mustards in your diet before, but they are nice and spicy, complex. They're gonna add just a really fascinating kick to your dishes. It's just this really great Asian flavor. I like to eat these raw. I like to have them stir-fried. You can swirl them into soup. They're really great in miso soup. There's a million different applications for the Japanese giant red mustard. And they're super great in a fall garden. Plant them in September and they're just going to thrive in the cooler weather. They don't mind those cool autumn days. They're gonna grow really great in cool autumn weather. And you can grow these in a greenhouse, in low tunnels. They're really versatile and easy to grow. If you're looking to add a little bit of color to your diet in the fall and winter, try Purple Lady Bok Choy. This one's got beautiful, complex flavor, spicy, juicy, refreshing, and it's also got dense nutrition. And this is a highly ornamental variety. I really love the look of this one in the landscape. So planted in September, be sure to keep this Asian green nice and cool as it germinates and it gets established, and it's going to grow beautifully throughout the fall. So I want to make sure that you're getting plenty of color in your fall and winter diet. And so you want to try something like Scarlet Kale. That's going to bring this vibrant purple color into your dishes. The vibrant purple color isn't just about beauty. It's actually indicative of the antioxidant anthocyanin. So it's really good for you. So we're going to bring that deep nutrition into your fall and winter diet. Also, there have been studies that have found scarlet kale specifically is very high in tocopherol, so it's got lots of antioxidant qualities, lots of vitamin E. It's a really healthful plant, so you want to bring that deep nutrition into your winter diet and really boost that immune system. So September means it's time to get your peas in the ground again. You probably had a really nice harvest at the early part of the season, and maybe you sowed your first peas in March, and then you can't really plant them throughout the summer because it's just too hot, and so you come back to them again in September. So you're going to want to keep these plants well watered. Peas really don't like to dry out, especially when they're just in that initial growing phase, when they're germinating and starting to grow up. And you're going to want to grow them up a trellis. So you maybe can pull some old pole beans you have that are finished off, and you can replace them with your peas. And they're going to mature as the weather gets cooler, and they have that beautiful sweet taste. And don't worry, if for some reason you made your timing just not quite right and you missed the pea pods, just eat those pea greens. They're delicious, they're edible. And you can add them to salads. You can eat the little pea blossoms. They're delicious. So don't fret. If you accidentally time it wrong and you miss the pods themselves, you can always eat the foliage. So that's one of the reasons I really love peas. Plant Chinese cabbage in September. It's a really great overwintering cabbage. It's got these beautiful, huge heads. This variety in particular is really, really nice. This is such a tender, sweet crop, and it's got incredible nutrition to it. And the texture is like lettuce hearts. It's super buttery and soft and tender. It's a fantastic culinary crop. It's just not grown enough. And it grows really well when you start it in September, and it just grows over a cool period. It's awesome for growing in greenhouses or cold frames. Spinach is another one that's great for September. It's going to thrive in cool weather. It's known as one of the most cool-loving crops. This green only gets better in the cool weather. It's really not ideal for the middle of summer, but planted in September, and it's going to just sing in your garden in the fall. It's going to have this beautiful, sweet flavor. And who doesn't love like a good spinach salad in the fall, or you can cook the spinach. This is a great variety for cooking. The leaves are huge. This is a really good old standby, and it's still a top choice. So definitely try Bloomsdale Long Standing spinach. Yellow Heart Winter Choy is the ultimate edible ornamental. It's got these beautiful golden rosettes. It's actually nicknamed golden flower in the snow because it can handle so much cold that it'll be growing these beautiful golden rosettes amidst a blanket of snow in the landscape. So it's beautiful, cold tolerant, and most importantly, it's delicious. So it's a true Asian green. It's going to taste a lot like pak choy. It's got refreshing, crisp flavor, slight spiciness to the leaves. It's densely nutritious, and it's great for eating raw, or you can cook it up. It's very versatile in the kitchen, and it looks fantastic in the landscape. A lot of times when we get into fall and even into winter, there's really nothing looking good in the landscape. There's not much color in the landscape. So try growing Yellow Heart Winter Choy to add a little bit of that beautiful golden hue to the landscape and to bring some dense nutrition into your diet. So let's add the spicy, pungent, delicious flavor of Mizuna to our fall and winter salads by planting it in September. Mizuna has that refreshing, kind of watery, Asian green texture to it, and it's got this really nice pungent flavor. It's a highly gourmet green. It's awesome for stir fries, put it in soups. It's super versatile. You can eat it raw. There's a million ways to use it, and it loves cool weather. It's well suited to greenhouses, hoop houses. Put it in your raised beds, try it in your cold frames. It's a versatile grower, it's versatile in the kitchen, it's easy to grow, and it's gonna bring that pungent nutrition to your diet in the winter. So another cool loving green perfect for September is endive or endive, depending on how you pronounce it. So it's got a little bit of the bitter flavor, like similar to dandelion, but it's incredibly healthful. This is a really, really good plant if you're trying to get more of those bitter greens into your diet, but you don't want something as intense as dandelion. It's a little bit more refined. And it really pairs well with fatty dressings like olive oil as a good dressing. So try some endive in your garden. It really thrives in cool weather. If you're worried about getting a hard freeze late in the season, you can cover this with a row cover. Same with your lettuces and your spinaches. If you're worried that it's gonna get too cold, you can always use a row cover. But this crop is actually going to do really well as the cool weather sets in. So I want to introduce one of the most cool-loving flowers that we know. This is pansies. I love this variety, specifically Swiss Giants pansies. But pansies love cool weather. In fact, you can see them kind of randomly blooming throughout the winter in some mild zones. They will kind of take any opportunity to open back up and bloom. It's a really cold-loving flower, one of my favorites for growing over the winter. Pansy flowers are edible, so if you're trying to maybe do a little market farming and you want to add some edible flowers, pansies would be an excellent choice. And they're just cheerful. They bring just a bit of color in that kind of sometimes drab winter landscape, so definitely try some pansies for your September planting. So I want you to invite the buttery, sweet, nutty flavor of Tom Thumb lettuce into your September planted garden. It's going to do so well throughout the fall. It really thrives in the cooler weather. And it's going to make these beautiful fall salads that are just rich and smooth and velvety. It's a great texture. It does better in the cool than it does in the warm, so take advantage of that, those cool autumn days, and try Tom Thumb. So be sure and get out there through September. Don't miss that planting window. You're going to be rewarded with beautiful gardens throughout the fall and tons of produce. And consider adding things like greenhouses or high tunnels, or even just some row cover in a low tunnel to extend your season even further with a little bit of frost protection. You're going to be rewarded with super sweet crops because that cool weather is going to make everything taste that much sweeter. It's totally worth it, so get out there and plant in September.